Welcome to Hotline TV. I'm Tim Sod.
And I'm Amy Walter, in a vest because it is fall. And we have another episode today of Poll Watch. Oh, yes. This is the House Poll Watch version.
House edition.
Lot of poll movement today. Yep. Up and down the ballot, or this last week up and down the ballot. Let's look at some House races where we've seen a lot of polls coming in. None of them look very good for Republicans. Give us some examples. What are you seeing?
That's right. It seems like, you know, the race, you know, the polls in congressional races flow this year with the presidential race, and
yeah.
You know that happens almost every presidential cycle. But races in New Mexico, races in North Carolina, races in Idaho, this year seem to be moving that way too. In places where these are Republican districts,
yeah, this
these
is
are
not
places,
a swing district.
No, they should not be swing
Idaho.
districts at all. None of them. Although there are dynamics from the presidential race that interfere in some of them. But these aren't races that you look at them and say, this is the one where the presidential race is going to move them. And you look at New Mexico, too, and that's a very conservative, culturally conservative district. Now, it's not solid Republican by any means. It's a leaning Republican district, but it should be solidly conservative, you know, guns. You know, it should not be in that camp. It should not be one that Obama helps push into place. So this is just a general Democratic sort of push in this district. And the Republican is a fine Republican, you know, on all these issues. There's nothing wrong with them. And the same in Idaho. Idaho, you know, of course, there's the incumbent has problems there, Bill Sally.
Teeny bit. Isn't he upside down with his fave on fave?
He is upside down in some polls. Yes, and but you know what? The Democrats are going to, you know, they're putting all kinds of money in there. It's not an expensive district to, you know, throw ads up in.
Yeah, I mean, this is what's interesting is if you would have said to me a year ago, Obama's moving ahead, Republicans are suffering up and down the ballot, we would have pointed to Mark Kirk and Chris Shays and Jim Gerlach and said these guys are dead, absolutely gone. And instead, where we're looking now is North Carolina, New Mexico, Idaho, Wyoming.
That's right.
And so I think clearly what voters are doing is I think they're able to see where they don't know, there's an open seat, and they don't know either party very well, any person very well, or they know the incumbent and they don't really like them.
Yep.
Gives them an excuse to vote for a Democrat. So I think that, you're right, that is a bigger problem. The question now is, and I also loved, check it out, every week, House Race Hotline, the independent expenditure comparison. Dems have spent already $15 million.
They spent
how much?
$300,000 or something like that for Republicans.
That seems like a big disparity.
The $15 million is more than that Democrats have spent is more than Republicans have on hand at this present time.
Right. So it's not even like not only will you never catch up, but you're going to be this far behind. You know, a 15-to-1 deficit.
That's right.
Going forward.
Now the good news for Republicans is a lot of these races haven't been put away yet, and Republicans are now starting to wade into these races. Some less expensive races in Wisconsin and Pennsylvania. So you know, maybe they're going to start ramping up their stuff in a couple weeks. I think they're in a week or so. I think their hope is that they've held on long enough, taken the Democrats' best shot, and now they're going to be able to do it. I don't know if that's the case. Is this going to be too late? Have voters' minds already been given an impression? I think people are engaging in races more because of the presidential race. Yeah. You know, these races have started earlier. You know, is this going to be too late for Republicans to hang on?
Well, so the question is this the beginning or the end here? Are we going to see more seats in play and Democrats ultimately picking up? You know, we had earlier talked about 10, 12, 15 seats.
Right.
Now should we be talking about 20 or 25?
I don't know. I think it's a little too soon to say that, but you know, I think the trend is not looking good for Republicans.
Right. So we'll see if there's still a month left, if anything changes between now and then. All right. Well, that's all we have for you today, and I'm Amy Walter.
And I'm Tim Sod. We'll see you next week on Hotline TV.